Guys, how much time is left on the timer? I can't see it, but I'm really impatient. We can screw with YouTube. We can just start it early. Boom. Now YouTube is they're gonna skip 10 minutes ahead like usual. And they're gonna be like, what the hell? Why did I just miss the last 20 seconds? I mean, I think we were already pretty much up, so whatever. What's up, guys? How's your Wednesday? Okay, some weird notifications on my phone. Oh, guys, I had something really weird happen this morning. So, my left foot is soaking, and my right foot is kind of wet. But I didn't step in a puddle. It's the weirdest thing, okay? So, I was walking to the supermarket to get some food. And I was about to cross the road. And then all of a sudden my foot was just wet. Like soaking. And thankfully it's not like super cold right now. It's not below freezing, but it was still pretty bad. And there was no puddle beneath my foot. There wasn't a car that just came by and splashed me. My pant leg was completely fine. It wasn't even raining hard. It was like misting, right? I have no idea what happened. I have no idea. But now my foot is soaked. And you guys know as well as I do, they don't turn on the fucking heat here. So now I just have to wait until my foot dries. I want to take off my shoe, because if I take off my shoe, my foot will dry, my sock will probably be okay. But then when I go to put on my shoe later to go home, it's going to be wet and cold. So now I have to sit here with a fucking wet foot and wet shoe and just hope that it dries out the best it can over the course of the day. Oh well. What other news do I have? I mean, not a lot happened. It was one night, right? You guys can't expect me to come into work with Okay, there was one thing. There's one thing, and it's going to be a bit controversial to say. Do you guys know Percy Jackson and the Olympians? The book series? They're pretty old, and I read them as kids. And it was supposed to be like... It was supposed to be as big as Harry Potter, and it wasn't. But it was still good. It was still an enjoyable book series. And they tried to make a movie, and it flopped. Or it just didn't really do well. It was kind of shit. I think it left out a lot of the stuff in the books. Well, they're making a series now with it, and again, this is going to be controversial to say, but they race swapped one of the main characters, and I don't like it. I don't like that being done. It's just not right. It feels like revisionism in a way. It's a bit of, I don't know. It's really rude to like the original source material and to the characters that you grew up with. It feels really weird. There's my controversial take though. There's my hot take. What else? I swear I had one other thing to tell you. I don't remember. I'm sure I'll remember in like 3 hours. There was one thing that I want to get to before we start doing dev work today though. I'll switch over to it. So I got sent this in our Discord, and I was told to go over it and to react to it. So I haven't looked at this yet, but it is some... Okay, so we got a Venn diagram of indie versus AAA game studios and what are the differences. Alright, let's go over it. Let's see. What's in the indie category? Workers wear a lot of hats. No, not really. I mean, that's more cultural anyway. barely anybody in Poland wears hats to work, and especially game devs. If anything, I would say beards. And I better see beards in here, but I don't see it. Facial hair is a massively common thing with game devs. More experimental, push the envelope. Yes and no. It has to do with budget. You can afford to be more experimental when you're risking less, but when you have, oftentimes over $100 million on the line, you need to be safe because you need to make sure that that money is actually paid back. Passion-driven decision making. Usually, yes. But it's more of a consequence of the industry rather than something that every indie developer innately does. It's usually you're working for a smaller studio because you don't like how profit-driven larger studios are, and profit-driven studios are profit-driven because they have much more risk and yearly expenses than a smaller studio. Simple as. More laid-back deadlines and tasks. I don't agree. That's just company culture. You can have AAA companies that are pretty laid back, and you can have indie companies that are very strict. It just depends on how you're producing. But again, this is more of a consequence of a smaller team that is usually a combination of very experienced people who wanted something smaller, who wanted something more laid back, right? Higher financial stress. Usually, yes, because there are a lot of indie devs don't have the financial pillow and safety net that a lot of larger studios have, or they don't have as many assets. They don't have a lot of games that are already released and still generating revenue, so if they have to scale back the company, they're not going to be completely bankrupt. Usually. Invent new IPs. AAA developers invent new IPs too. In fact, some of our most beloved IPs are from AAA devs. Every series had to start somewhere. There was one game that started all these series. So I don't really agree with that. I would just say I would say it's more likely that, you have this many AAA studios, you have this many indie studios, right? So of course they're going to make games that are new IPs that are new because they don't have access to these IPs. But these IPs generate massive amounts of revenue. Much smaller teams, typically under 12, it depends. But I would say 10 to 15 it's pretty average. That's pretty fair for a average indie studio. But you can have indie studios that are massive. It's just, how do we define indie? Is it truly independent? Are you self-publishing? Because in that case, a lot of AAA devs are self-publishers. Rockstar Games publishes their own titles, but nobody would classify them as independent. This is a very common, debate that we have in the industry, right? Is how do you define indie? Because now independent is the idea of being independent from a publisher. You can be one man and be independent. You can be, like I said, Rockstar is an independent studio. They publish their own games. Rely heavily on organic growth. Yes, I would say yes, just because, yes, marketing budgets are much smaller. You need that organic growth. I mean, that's what we're doing right now, right? I have spent $0 on marketing, but the streams are a way for me to market the company and my game. I'm doing it organically. Share absolutely everything publicly. That's what we're doing, but that's absolutely not true. That absolutely depends. Hey, Datu. The thing is, okay, so you can be any company, you can get onto, you can have shares, you can have shareholders, you can have investors in the company, you can have NDAs, you can do any of this that you want. And you can even be a small company and get on the stock market. And when you're on the stock market, the requirements for you of what you can and can't say in public about your company they're massive. They're massive because you could manipulate stocks, and if you're caught manipulating the FCA, what is it? Not the FCA, it's the... Well, it's just the whatever, I can't remember the people in charge of finance. I can't remember the acronym for it, but they will be on your ass. Okay, so this is not necessarily true. It depends on company structure. It depends on leadership decisions. There are tons of indie developers that do not share a lot of their details and still make exceptional games. Personally, I prefer to share everything publicly just because I don't see any reason to hide it. And I'll stay pretty down about dying, Jad. Do not worry, you'll try again. Like, I died 6 times before finally beating him, so, you know. And I was better prepared than you. I had higher stats and better gear, so don't feel bad. Hire the hungry visionaries? Yes. I would say generally true, but there are great visionaries at big companies. I do think that is dwindling over the years, just because of how AAA companies are structured. But this isn't necessarily true. Shorter roadmap, 6 months to 3 years. Yes and no. It depends. You can have AAA companies making small games. And you can have indie developers making big games. A lot of indie developers actually do take longer time because they have fewer staff members. But in general, it's like, budgets are like this, right? You can have indie developers having massive budgets and AAA developers working with slightly smaller budgets. Target more niche audiences. Not always. But they can afford to because their investment into the IP or into their game is smaller. So they can target a niche audience because they have lower overhead. If you have a game that's $100 million to make, you can't target a niche audience because that, no matter, even if you get all of the members of that niche audience to buy your game, you might not even make a profit. Okay, so that covers indie. Let's go to AAA. Workers are heavily specialized. Yes. But it's because of a result of having a larger team. You can afford to do that with a smaller team of, 12 people in an indie company. You have to wear multiple hats. You have to. Otherwise, you won't make the game. But yes, generally AAA devs, these big teams of like hundreds of people, you will find that you'll find just some of the weirdest job titles because they need somebody to do it full time. Use old game formulas but do them well. Sometimes, okay, I'll say this. Sometimes they make new formulas and they do them well. Sometimes they make new formulas and they don't do them super great. Sometimes they use old formulas and, as it says here, do them well or they don't do them well. It just depends. But I will say that there's a tendency to use old game formulas because they're proven to work. And if it's proven to work, it's safe. And if it's safe and it has a large audience, money. Metric-driven decision-making. Every business has to do this. You have to. You don't have often the financial... It's just risk, right? You make decisions based on metrics. Stricter deadlines and tasks. As a team gets larger, you'll often find, and this is not always the case, but you often find that it is less agile. So agile is like a methodology of working, and it's employed, or it's not employed, it's I guess employed would be the right word. It's employed by a lot of these larger studios because it's proven, it works well, and it scales relatively well to larger team sizes. The reason why you have stricter deadlines and tasks is because one small hang-up can have a trickle-down effect. And this is where producers and game dev come in handy, right? So producers and game dev are the people who manage the tasks, manage the team, manage the product, and often are the liaison between teams, or they kind of, jot between teams to help out where needed, get information, make sure that tasks are running smoothly. They're not micromanagers necessarily, but they are managers. Usually team leads are expected to kind of do the management of their teams, but if if I'm working with a team of designers and I need to cooperate with the lead programmer, lead artist on something, on a big task or something we didn't anticipate, I would immediately pull a producer into the room, or multiple producers, and say, hey, this is our problem. Where can we fit this into the schedule? What's it looking like? How many weeks do we have until the next patch or something? Because they're gonna know that answer. More financial stability. You'd be surprised. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And there, like I said, there's a lot of risk put behind these games, and if they fail, they're gone. They're gone. And we've seen that to some of the biggest studios, some of the most well-loved studios, unfortunately. You'd be surprised. Expand existing IPs, well, yes, because there's money in that. I'll tell you what, they make a new Final Fantasy game, and it's halfway decent, they're going to keep making more Final Fantasy games. Simple as that. Pokemon. I promise you there's another Pokemon game being worked on. It's going to come out, and it's going to sell like hotcakes. Much larger teams, typically in the hundreds. Typically in the hundreds? I wouldn't say so. I would say the companies themselves can often be multiple hundreds, or easily over 100. But a lot of AAA companies have multiple teams. And I think at a certain point, team sizes do get difficult to handle. New Pokemon game didn't interest me at all. Which was the new one? Was that the one with the weird, like, bicycle-looking Pokemon and it was, like, buggy as hell? Massive marketing budgets, yes. Like I said, you have more risk in it. You need to make sure it succeeds. You're going to put marketing budgets into the hundreds of millions sometimes. I believe Cyberpunk 2077 marketing budget. This is Phantom Liberty. This is not the original game. I think this is the over 120 million. Wait. Yes, Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, that one didn't interest me either. This is the expansion. I want the original budget. I think it was this. It was the 316. Shit, I believe that they spent over half of that on marketing alone, over the half of the 300 million. The marketing budgets are insane, and I will say this, Cyberpunk 2077's marketing, because I was here in Poland at the time of it, being marketed, it was insane. It was insane. They should have spent more money on the development, if you ask me. You'd be surprised how much work one trailer can do. Case in point, GTA 6. You don't need, and okay, this is kind of a bad example because Rockstar is going to spend a fuck ton on the marketing for this game. Just because of how expensive GTA 5 was and how much money GTA 5 and GTA Online generate. But one good trailer can do so much more work than spending a fuck ton on marketing, to be honest. Especially in today's day and age. Rockstar can release any new trailer and it will go viral, guaranteed. Operate in stealth mode. A lot of this has to do, like I mentioned, with stocks. If you're on the stock market, there are things that you legally will destroy your company if you say, because you'll get in a lot of trouble. Hire the vetted experts. You'd be surprised. Actually, AAA, to some extent, it's easier to get a job in AAA than it is to get a job in indie. Indie developers have strict budgets, right? You can hire financial stress. I definitely agree, right? When I start to hire for Cauldron Chronicles, I cannot afford to hire people who don't have some experience. I need people who know what they're doing, who can come in and work generally independently with very little management or worry, because mistakes cost a lot because we don't have the operating budget to afford it. AAA companies can afford to hire a lot of juniors or a lot of less experienced individuals and train them up. So they do hire experts because they need somebody to train, they need somebody to lead, right? They need somebody to lead, oftentimes, teams of 10 or more individuals underneath them, but they will hire people who may not have a significant amount of experience. Longer roadmaps, 3 to 7 years, depends on the game. They're pumping out new Call of Duties and Assassin's Creeds, around 3 years or even fewer. So it's not always the case. Targeting more broad audiences, again, it's just risk. You put 100 million in, you need 100 million or more out. And what do they have in common? Both make games. Yes, both are passionate gamers. It's a new Call of Duty every year. Yeah. So it's like, sometimes the roadmaps are not that long. But I will say that generally speaking, and this is not to mean that the games are great, but the production schedules of a lot of these AAA companies are streamlined. They are buttery smooth. Both are passionate gamers. I disagree. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people working in AAA, both management and individual workers, who actually just don't give a shit about games. And you'll actually often find a lot of the people working on the technology of the engine or of the game itself may not even play that many games. Now, I'm not going to hire people like that for Cauldron Chronicles or for Microraptor Games, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people in game dev do not really enjoy games that much. Or they like them, but they won't play them. Been a new Call of Duty every year since the first one. By the way, first Call of Duty, good Call of Duty. I love that game. 1 and 2 are both just exceptional classics. Both seek to serve specific audiences. Every game seeks to serve specific audiences. You cannot make a game for everyone. Even the biggest games like Minecraft or Fortnite, they're not for everyone. Although Minecraft has a huge amount of overlap. Both deliver specific player fantasies. Yeah, but it's just games. It's like, the game isn't real, okay? Unless it's maybe like an ARG or something, but even then, both operate in a boom or bust industry. Yeah, the gaming industry is very competitive. Yeah. Both work in multidisciplinary teams. Yeah, because... duh. Grip with Modern Warfare 2 and World at War Still Love, yeah, those are good games. Those are great games. Both are good and valid careers. Yes. Depending on what you want from your career, both are fine. And a lot of people start in AAA and they go to indie. Some people start in indie, go to AAA. And some people go here and stay here. Some people go here and stay here. Personally, I've started at indie. I'm staying in indie, kind of. Although some of my work has ventured more into this realm and not for the betterment. And now I'm going back here. But it may be, if worst case scenario, if Microraptor Games doesn't do well, I might try to seek something in AAA to learn that side of the industry better and then use my knowledge of that and come back to indie. I don't know. But yeah, that was fun. That was a nice chart. I don't really agree with it, but I would say like super generally, if you don't know anything about AAA or indie, it's kind of accurate. But it doesn't really, I don't know. There's so many exceptions to all these that, nah. Especially both are passionate gamers, I don't know. Trust me, I've talked to a lot of people in the gaming industry who play pretty much no games. They play like a few mobile games on their phone and then they work on some PC game and it's like, Jesus Christ. All right, moving on to actual development. How much time do we spend on that? 30 minutes? Okay, it's not too bad. Let's get back to our open world. Maps. What are we missing in here still? Why am I in a tree? Out of the tree. Oh yeah, we were placing some bushes. Actually, let me just run around. Do it that way. Oh yeah, we adjusted some of the height of the terrain. It really does feel a lot better now. It really does. The slight unevenness. We definitely lack landmarks, though. We lack some... There's a distinct lack of hand-placed, interesting landmarks, I would say. I'm gonna place some big-ass cubes. Of where I kind of want some interesting things to be placed. I want something here. We kind of have something under the ground here with the small cave. Maybe something around this side of the cave would be pretty cool. Let me do it this way. Let me make a small blueprint for prototyping. Content out. Blueprint class actor. BP. Proto cube. Do I have a material? M proto. What does this look like? I'm gonna forget. Yeah, that'll work. Let's add a cube. Instruction script, new variable. Call it color, and it will be a linear color. It's a cube. Create dynamic material instance. mproto. Set material. Material instance. What is it? It's not set vector. It's set vector parameter value. Color. Parameter name, color. And then we will expose this instead. Hey, Crossroads. How you doing? Default color of white. Good. Okay, now we can put this into the scene. But it's a little bit different because we can set the color now. Like this. That way I can kind of keep track of what I want in this scene. We can be like red. Red is going to be a maybe very large tree with lots of mushrooms growing under it. Yellow can be a small ruins. Kind of meh, how about you? Better than meh. Better than meh, sorry to hear that. Small beachy area. I want to put something up on this ridge. I don't know what though. What can we put up on this ridge that would be interesting? We don't have we don't have like a ton of assets to work with, unfortunately. We've got some trees. We do have some red trees. I could do like a big birch tree. That would be quite striking from... Okay, go slower, buddy. Mouse. Looks like 3 trees in one. I mean, it's fine, right? Like, who the hell cares? But I kind of want to place it with the foliage system, though. Well, we don't need to. We could place it by hand. The reason I would want to do it with the foliage system is because if I change the terrain level, it will adjust the level of the foliage as well. But if it's one asset, I don't think. I kind of want this to be a small clearing, in a way. foliage erase, and we will do everything. Okay, it's already in the ground a bit, so that works. I mean, I hope it's visible from the start area. It's kind of blocked. We can move some of those trees, though. We'll start the player, I guess, maybe here, so that when they start up, they can kind of see the hut and around a bit. Foliage mode. Okay, let's do this instead. Don't place. Okay, it's not. Hold on. Okay, I want a small tree in here, but just the right location, you know. No. I mean, we can also make that red tree just a little bit bigger too. The good news is I didn't get claimed on YouTube for playing some Elder Scrolls music in the background. Doesn't mean that it can't ever happen. But it looks like they don't automatically go around striking people's videos with bots, you know? Thankfully. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm not an environment artist, I'll tell you that. Looks kind of cool. We could also put it maybe up on a little hill. I don't know. Raise up the terrain around here a bit more. And then we can make it, you know, just a little bit smaller for purposes of that. Bring up this a bit more. How steep is little hard to tell. I mean, I could bring it down just a little bit. a little bit. Okay, let's place it in. I think that's good. Yeah, that works. And from the start area, oh yeah, very noticeable. It should draw the attention. I think. Yeah, you know, I want, for this demo, I want the player to see certain things from the hut and just kind of be curious about them. You know, very like landmark driven level design in a way. So when they see kind of the, you know, the pile of rocks, when they see the tree, when they look up there and might be able to see something, or over here and see some ruins, that they can kind of, this is their hub of look around, see things, get curious, go explore, go find things. Props, what do I have? I think it was in the tower. Meshes. Structures. We have some of these ruined walls. I'd have to kind of make them look good, or we load up the map and we steal one, which I might do. I don't need the ruins to look specific, I just need them to look good. So if they've already built one in their map, I'll just take something from their map. This is only a demo anyway, right? This is not a, none of this map will be used in the final product. I know I say that a lot, but I say that just to reiterate. Where are the ruins? They did a nice job on this little island here, actually. Looks pretty cool. Oh, here's some. I mean... Is that the only place that they use those? Wait, let me get rid of the foliage. That helps a lot. Should have done that in the first place. That's cool, that little ruined bridge. Looks nice. They didn't make anything too big. I could take some of this stuff though. Did they put this into a folder? They grouped the actors, that would be nice. Village. Okay, let's see. Does that include the stone here? Oh, it does, okay. Copy. some stuff that's like just so not a part of it. Oh, I might have to make some adjustments to the terrain as well, but that we can do. I don't know why this is considered part of it, but we'll just delete that. I don't mind this stuff, potentially. Let's see, get it rotated. I want it like this. Let me work with it in the sky first, just so I can clearly see some of these outline meshes, and then I can just select all of them in the folder again and drag them down. I think that'll be the best way to deal with it. Okay. Not that this other clutter is bad. Just we don't have the room. What's the button? It's I actually kind of like this set of meshes here, but I'll just select them. What is it? Is it Control Shift? No. It's Control Alt. Oh no, it did select the skies. Hold on, we don't want that. Just those, please. Yeah, okay, we're good. And we can delete these. Not though. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I might delete the fences. I'm not a huge fan of them, but we'll see. There's something over here? Oh yeah, there is. Look at that. Also a floating section here. These. We don't have any more floating bricks, do we? Okay, no outline. That looks good. Looks good. Let me delete the foliage in this area first. We can kind of hand place it afterwards. All right. That should hopefully be enough space. Pull it down. I press. What happens if I press? Yeah, I don't really want that being done, personally. Like, it works to an extent, but no, we should not press. We'll just have to manually kind of work in groups with these. Not the right button. I think if I lock, can't I lock the landscape? I don't know, I'd have to ask one of my level designer friends about that. Just so I can avoid having to fuck something up like that. Let's put it... we'll put it here and adjust the terrain for it, I think, a little bit. I don't mind if some of this is underneath the ground. We'll go one at a time. Brush. It's smaller. And definitely lower strength. Just kind of play with it a bit here. Looks pretty good. Then we'll do a very, very, very light smooth. Just to help smooth out any of those edges that might be rough. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay. I think we can generally bring this down as a single structure. It does look like it's a bit on a, upward tilt. So we could maybe adjust the terrain back here to suit that. Oops. Still a floating piece. Must have missed that. Good enough. They say. Okay, that looks... actually looks pretty good. If we bring it down, it'll be mostly okay, and then we can just touch up a few of the terrain locations. Okay. Except those. I don't want those. We'll do it this way. Did I hope that hit all of them? Not the landscape. Jesus. Just those. I missed some of the smaller, like, bricks. Annoying. Where was it? Where are you? Little brick bitch. Here, we got him. I think that's everything. And if so, let's bring it down. About there. No, let's go even further. Yeah. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, landscape sculpt. Much smaller. Very light string. We're just gonna kind of unearth it a little bit. Still pretty strong. That's still really strong strength. I don't know why. Yeah, whatever. Give it a quick save, right? Want to be careful about that. The really good thing is we're not getting those crashes that we had with the AMD card. I'm very happy about that. Okay, I think this looks okay. Full of outliers. Well, let me slow down my camera movement here. We'll repaint the terrain too when we're done, just to help with some of these spots. Yeah, that looks pretty good. How deep? Like, I definitely don't mind this area being very uneven. I think it adds a lot of character to the area. But I don't want anything noticeably hovering or, you know, I don't want it to look too unnatural. But I'm going to start with kind of getting things to the level that I want. And then we can adjust it from there. That looks pretty good. Okay, okay. I'm happy with that section. You lurking? Yeah. It's never a bad time to lurk if there's some good Elder Scrolls music in the background. Never a bad time. I feel like level artists have some of the most chilled jobs ever. I'm kind of jealous of them. This game design is pretty fucking stressful. But just sitting here painting the terrain, yeah, it's pretty nice. Pretty relaxing. I mean, this whole area kind of has to come up, doesn't it? Kind of bends. It bends down a bit, so yeah, we can do it this way. also add a bit of erosion. That can add a more natural feel to some of our more like steeper sides to this. Yeah, I kind of want to smooth this out a bit. Get it to about here, and then we'll just smooth it. I might have to touch it up just a little bit after I do this. Or quite a bit. We'll make a few passes of the smoothing and sculpting. Sorry, I'm sure the stream bitrate doesn't like all this flashing grass. Actually, bitrate shouldn't be too bad. 30 FPS. Okay, that took a while. That took a while, but it looks okay. I think it looks good. Save it. Okay, we will do the middle last. Maybe do this one. Mostly okay. I think we just need to bring kind of everything up a bit. But on its... yeah, we just need to bring it up. What is clay brush? Oh, interesting. Let me try this clay brush. It would take the average direction, which I would think would pull up things on that slope. No, not really. We'll just go regular brush. I'm gonna pull it up a little bit more than usual because when I smooth it, it should sink in a bit if when I smooth it. So. Yeah, there's still a lot floating. I don't like that those are floating, but it's... Yeah, I don't like that. Some of this might just be easier to adjust with by moving the mesh, though. Painting the terrain just right is going to actually be more troublesome than just moving some meshes. I mean, as long as we have the terrain in mostly the place that I want, I can kind of just... There's one mesh. Do that. Yes. Like I said, I will go back after this and like paint some drier grass patches in here just to try and... I get kind of anal about that, but nothing wrong with a good bit of anal, is there? I say at 10:40 a.m. on a Wednesday. Yeah. Acceptable. This one doesn't need too much work. I guess we'll do the middle while we're here. That's pretty high up. we'll get those up to elevation. And I don't mind there being a bit of just kind of... You know, like the civilization, when individuals move into it, they do make their mark on the terrain as well. I just don't want it to look like I've gone around and sculpted with the with a brush, you know? At a certain point, it can look a little too deliberate. We'll pull up the area around this to make it look more natural. As if somebody was kind of taking advantage of some of the natural depression in the land. Or just help to reinforce that and build a house. Little hut. Well, that's just a floating rock. We'll just delete that one. I think that looks pretty good. Nothing major underneath the game world. I think for the most part it looks quite natural. Probably undoing a lot of my work, but fuck yeah, it did. Oopsies. That feels pretty good. Okay. Ugh. Should we put that magic rock back down in the center? Or should we like say that it like fell over? Runestone unstable. What's unstable mean? Looks fine to me. Yeah, there's like runestone 2 and then unstable. What the fuck? Difference. Look exactly the same. Yeah, weird that they even have the exact same source file. Weird. I don't know. You could say it's been like knocked down or something. It was once a monument. The city. The town. Okay, that looks good. Alright, cool, and they all have collision. Good, good. Always gotta check, right? Oopsies. I'll figure out. Couple of floating stones. I mean, that's kind of floating too, to be honest. We can adjust that, we can make that look a bit better. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that looks better. Oh, good. I was thinking about that island that they have on the tower map. I kind of want to see that again. Because maybe I could just replace... I don't know. Let me just see it. Let me see it. You guys remember when this map was just crashing and had like 2 FPS? I mean, the FPS still wasn't great, but it is better. I really like this. I really like what they've done here. I kind of wish we could use some of these flowers in the foliage painter. Ugh, it's gonna be like... It's gonna be something that I have to figure out with a, with an art director. It's like the way that that they do it in, let's just say Elder Scrolls, for instance, because it's relevant. We're listening to, and it is one of the inspirations for our game. You have, you know, like your lavender, you pick it, but it doesn't pick all of it. Usually, sometimes it's still left there as a way to dot the landscape, to give some extra color to the landscape, but when you see it from a distance, you know that you've already picked it. Usually. I think we have to do something like that. The same thing in like Fallout 2, right? Not Fallout 2 specific, you know, the game, but Fallout the universe as well, TOO. And I enjoy that because you aren't ruining the aesthetic of the environment when you're picking materials. And I think that's the golden thing to aim for with Cauldron Chronicles as well. You can pick the mushrooms, you can pick the flowers, But some small ones are still left there, right? And those are the ones that grow back and, you know, replenish the resource. Because of that, we can't do it specifically via this kind of foliage system, I don't think. The wind does look nice, though. Yeah, this does look nice, though. And with the vines growing all over. I like these dual towers as well, going over the stream. Those would be kind of nice to have. Okay, interesting. That's kind of awkward. Yeah, they did a good job making their terrain. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of people that can make stuff like this. Make it look good. They hand place these meshes? No, they're part of the foliage system too, looks like. Huh. Yeah, the biggest difference between this and what we have right now is just the difference in color. It's massive. But a lot of that's going to come from from the way that we place ingredients. So once we start placing ingredients, it's going to liven up a lot. Well, that's a creative use of those. I really like that, actually. I might do something similar to that to create like a ravine. That looks really cool. Wait, are those just like fog? Oh, I kind of like that. Looks cool too. Especially from a distance, it's quite believable. Smart. Smart's so smart. Oh, no, that's awesome. I almost want to take this too. It's pretty well done. Alright, we will learn from this. We will learn. You get good at level design and level art just by practicing. And having some God-given abilities doesn't hurt either, so. Which I don't have. I do not have those. Good thing is, all I have to do is tell publishers I'm a systems designer. You're lucky I got a level at all. I kind of want to bring the edge of this up more. Yes, that. The play area isn't going to extend back here, but at least we can help with the facade of it a bit. Get rid of those so we don't have trees popping through from beneath. And then we can repaint them. Alright, let's go and erase some things now. No, that one's okay. Get rid of those. Actually gonna erase these and those. And one. And what the player should be able to do is see this right from the... They should at least kind of see something. They may not know what, but especially as they walk over this way, hard to miss. Hard to miss. It's gonna draw some interest. And hopefully we can put some nice ingredients here for them to discover. Grab. Yeah, that looks nice. We have the big tree, we have the ruins. Still don't know. I'm thinking some towers up there would be pretty cool. But I'm not sure. Not sure. We have the waterfall that is a lot bigger than I thought, because I don't have a good sense of scale. We made it easy for players to walk on this with the blocking volumes. I wish this were a bit easier to see though, back here. I don't mind it being a bit hidden, but I do wish it were a little bit easier to see. And we could definitely stand to touch up this cliffside a bit. But we'll do that when we come over here to fill in that blue spot, for instance. We're still Jesus. Don't worry, we'll put something behind the waterfall. We have to put something behind the waterfall. Players expect it, okay? And I'm not about to let players down. Yeah, that was pretty nice. I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, what do I want to do next? We could also start Talos Principle a little bit early, but I want to do one more thing. Which, if you're watching on YouTube, sorry that these are kind of shorter. Hopefully you saw my previous day, but we want to finish Talos Principle 2, and then we want to jump into Dragon's Dogma, so I'm just trying to finish those up. That's our goal. Okay, blue. We could set up some new boundaries too. Maybe maybe I'll make that, I think they did it with these, didn't they? Need foliage, oops. I think they did it with 2 of these ones. I kind of want to do that as well. Like, they curved them. I think like this. Oh, I have some... What did I get foliage on this? Wait, when I painted foliage onto the mesh, does it also copy that? Yeah, look at that, it does. Huh. Okay, interesting to know. Didn't know it did that. Maybe I should get rid of the foliage then. Alright, any more? No? Okay. Let me erase this a bit. This is mainly going to be a backdrop kind of situation here. How big is that? Pretty big if we consider that we were pretty small up against this rock. But it could be further up. Maybe let's pull it back a little bit. Like that maybe? Did they do it with this mesh or did they do it with one of the other ones? Now I'm kind of curious. They hit it pretty damn well though. It's gonna be a lot harder for us to do that. Could maybe make that work. Maybe. How big is it? Let me get a feel for that first. Pretty big. Pretty big. Let's switch over to the landscape. Let's add in sections here. Okay, that looks good. And then we can try to blend this in. I mean, we're gonna do a couple things with this. We're gonna put in some fog. I want to see which actors they used for that. Let me just search it. I'll just search fog. Was it the fog card? Wait, I need to put that in. I think this was it. I think it was just a plane. Do we scale the instance mesh or the entire thing? Oh wait, plane scale X and Y. C. That's a nice blueprint. Really nice blueprint, actually. Oh, I see. Hold on, let me go check out their map, because maybe I can just pull in one of theirs that they've already messed with. Make my work a bit easier. Oh shit, kick my chair. Because they had some really big ones that looked great at a distance. But I imagine that they modified the settings quite a bit. Oh, cloud card. It wasn't fog card, it was cloud card. That's why they look a lot whiter. Oh my god, they have planets? Okay, that's pretty cool actually. I might have to use one of those. I might steal one of those. They look pretty nice too, actually. Okay, so no fog card. We want cloud card. Cloud card. It was this mesh. Which direction? I think it was bi-directional, wasn't it? Or was it? World grid material. No, I want cloud card. Yeah. I don't want the ravine to be completely obfuscated, though. Or obscured. Don't think that would look great. Maybe we can still use that fog. Card, I don't know which one is more updated. I want to handle this. Okay, let's smooth that out. This is smoothing not working very much. Work better, please. I'll pull that fog card up a bit too. If we obscure this with enough trees and shit, it should even out. Put some of these other mountain meshes over here as well. Fog's gonna help the additional meshes that I need to clear of trees. That'll help. We have that one. We have these two look pretty nice as well. Let's see. That. I know that they don't share the same materials. It sucks. There's not a lot that I can do about that. Maybe? No, not really. Not really. It doesn't matter. Just tell the publisher I had to use different asset packs. Be like, okay, whatever. certain point with the angles, it doesn't look the greatest. At a certain point. It's just. Geez, calm down. Tool strength 1. It just, at a certain point, just doesn't give a fuck. We only need it to be good enough. Foliage, erase. Get rid of some of the worst offenders here. We can use the trees to hide a lot of problems. At a certain density, the player will not be able to see some issues. I don't like, oh, you know what? Supposed to be, okay, let me fix this. I made a mistake. Okay, it's not gonna cost me too much. We're okay. I just placed that there because that's about where I wanted it, but it wasn't finalized. Don't like how much that comes up. How could I hide that? big mesh. Cloud card. All of the above. We could just make this so big. Yeah, but it doesn't stick up enough. That's the problem. It doesn't stick up enough. We would need like one of these. It clashes so much. It's really bad. God, I don't have a lot of meshes to work with here. We're doing our best. I think maybe a good cloud card would probably cover it. Don't look there. Yeah, it covers it pretty well. I mean, again, I don't know why I'm caring so much about it. It's not like I don't want to do well. I just know that I don't have to. I don't have to reach a release ready level of quality, because this isn't gonna be released. That doesn't mean that I should, or it just doesn't mean that I should not give a shit at all. We gotta fix the paint on that. We're kind of covering this play area in mountains, which in one, I don't want to paint this with. It works in one way, and maybe in another I shouldn't, but someone sounds angry. I think you guys can hear it. Someone does not sound happy in one of these other rooms. I can feel that. I can feel that. That's how I felt at some jobs. God damn it. Can't you guys just not make decisions? I'll say this, I think a lot of it stems from a general lack of... no, let me rephrase that. A lot of it can come from... there are a lot of people in game dev who are very passionate, right? And I would absolutely include myself among that group. The issue with that is when you have people who aren't passionate. And it's not that they're wrong for being... what is the word? Like dispassionate or something? I don't think it's unpassionate. I think it's dispassionate. You guys get what I mean. A lot of it stems from that. You have just two people who are in this for completely different reasons, or two groups of people who are in this for different reasons. I want to blend those better. Fine. I want the grass to, kind of like get drier as it goes down. It's not going to look super realistic, but... hopefully it looks okay-ish. I don't know what's going on, but he does not sound happy. I don't want to eavesdrop, but it's like the walls aren't super thick. Unfortunately, I can't help it. By the way, they're probably not game devs. I don't know. I'm just saying that I've also been in that situation where I don't know. It goes back to what we were saying at the start of the video here. Between, difference between AAA and indie. It's the reason why... okay, we can talk about this. It's the reason why we are a value-driven company. First and foremost, why the first thing I made for our studio, before we had even finalized the name or the logo or anything, what are our values? What are we actually building? Why are we doing this? Because if we can't align on values and we can't hire people based on those values, then you'll end up hiring people, you'll end up creating two different cultures, two different subsets. And I've worked at companies that had that. You have two different people who are in this for completely different reasons. And at the end of the day, they don't see eye to eye. They don't have the same views. They don't have the same care for the customer's experience because one of them just doesn't. Like, well, I'm not in this for the players. I'm in this because I get paid. Like, okay. Sure. To some extent, sure. Obviously, money matters. Anyone who tells you differently is a liar. But, you're also creating a product. You're creating something for people. It's entertainment, right? Every single game is entertainment, just in a different way. Some is entertainment that's meant to make you feel, happy, some sad, some excitement, adrenaline. But if you don't care about the player's emotions, then I'm not gonna hire you. Players first, experience first. That blended. I mean, okay, the grass itself is now blended terribly with each other. This, however, is not blended well at all. Ugh, I need to do larger brush. We'll keep the tool strength. It's just going to be kind of a... Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a bit. I might try to touch up some of the sandy areas though, once I blend this. Just so there's less grass poking through. Yeah, because the sand will get rid of the grass growing in some of these areas. I don't mind some of it, but I don't want there to be these massive grass patches. Well, it's acceptable. It's acceptable. Let's throw some trees in. Trees and bushes. Just to help hide that seam. We'll have to figure out how to hide this corner well, because I'm still not sure how best to handle that. This we can hide fairly well just by doing that. And I think when the player's looking into it, even if they get a good glimpse of the back there, it's assumed it just kind of maybe drops off a little bit, as if this is the peak. Do we want to keep the... I want to keep that moving. looking pretty good. We'll do a run through before giving it a pause. Okay, that looks pretty good. I gotta stretch. Oh. Okay. Let's do a quick run through of this map. We'll just see how it looks. God, it's gonna be so good when we get some color in this map, I'll tell you that. Right. The skylines look relatively believable. Or at least, you know, obviously if you stare at them hard enough, you can probably see some of the seams. It's fine. I have to set up the boundaries. I'm still not sure how I want to do that. Might do it with... God, it would be really hard to do it this way, though. It'd be great if I could just paint a spline of... like some fences, just so it didn't look as shitty as like a giant white wall. Yeah, this is kind of the edge of this area. Looks okay. We probably should have had the trees aligned to normal. Well, who cares? Wait, what? Why am I the invisible wall here? I thought we deleted the boundaries. Did we not delete the boundaries? Maybe not. Did we just hide them in game? Not those. There's something over here blocking the player. Oh, it's because those... Because of this. This mesh's collision is... really fucky. Really fucky. We could give it a bit more complex collision. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Let's see what we can do with it. That's more acceptable. I can accept that. It just needs to not be so shitty with its collision. I mean, technically we could remove the collision from it entirely, but at least that'll prevent major issues on it. And I probably should do the same with these ones. I think are okay. But whatever this one is, could also use it. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Alright, let me play from here again. I want to do it in... We'll just run back there. We could probably make some stairs that go up here as well. Something that looks better or is more believable than just nothing. But it depends what we put up here. Because I might do some kind of pathway. I think a tower would look pretty nice. Some kind of overgrown tower or something. Whoop. Oopsies. Immersion ruined. Actually, I should probably fix some of these. We'll come back. We'll fix that when we go over this area. We haven't touched the cliffs yet at all. We did a first pass, but that's it. Okay, how do these look over here? The cloud cards look much better from the ground, actually. I was a little worried about them and how they would look, but they're not bad. They're noticeably planes if you look at them from the side, but other than that... Yeah, the ravine looks pretty cool. Looks pretty good. I'm curious what it looks like from, like, up here on this ridge. Kind of hard to see it though, isn't it? They do have a lot of trees. I actually don't like this tree being here. Big one. It ruins the shot. Like looking from here into the ravine. Oh yeah, that's much better. Plus you can see that the stone from here, without the tree in the way, that looks much better. Oops. God damn it. I haven't decided fully on having a swimming feature in the game, but I think it would be nice. I'm leaning towards it, like 90% yes. Swimming, cool. Doesn't have to be crazy complex, but just being able to move around in water and collect things from within the water would be really cool. Be really awesome. It would open up a lot of opportunities for things, I think. Okay, this world is starting to take shape. I don't think it looks as great as professionals would do it, but I'm not unhappy. I'm not unhappy with it. Is there a well mesh that I have? Meshes, structures. Props. No. don't see anything. Sky sphere stylized. Huh. Technically, I can change the sky color, I think, with the ultra dynamic sky. Can I? You gotta be able to change color of sky, right? Moon. Oh yeah, speaking of moon, I wanted to pull those planets in. Where the fuck were those? Dreamscape series. Shared resources. No. It wasn't a blueprint, was it? I think it was a static mesh. Power meshes. I'll just look it up. Planet. Oops, that's the material. Oh, they probably just did a sphere. Did they? Yeah, they did. It's not super visible from all angles, but pretty cool. We can put one of those in the sky. Pretty sweet. If I rotate it, no, it's kind of meant to be seen from a specific angle, kind of low on the horizon. Okay, not that low. Although the further back we move it, the better. I kind of like it. I don't know what it looks like at night, though. Change it to night. You still have to fix the grass looking like complete ass at night. Where is the stupid ass grass material? It's probably this. It's emissive, but it has a emissive power of 0. I know default is 0.0025. Well, if we get rid of the emissive, it will. Yeah, let's try it. We could just unhook the emissive as well. Definitely looks better. It's still a very bright night. Very bright night. Can I adjust the... Night brightness 1. Okay, 0.5. 0.3. If I make it 0, is it? Yeah, there's no light. 0.2 kind of feels better. Give it a second to adapt. I do have bloom and adaptation on, so that looks a bit better for night brightness. That planet is way too bright at nighttime. We might have to get rid of that. That is absurd. Or we could make it into like if the material itself has some material instance for emissive, which we could adjust that. We could make it into a blueprint that reads the time of day and adjusts itself. It's doable. That fog card. That the fog card is emissive, I think. It's kind of what it looks like. Grass looks loads better. Grass is fixed, in my opinion. That's kind of rude, Mr. Light. Yeah, planet and fog card are fucked up at nighttime, but everything else looks decent. We'll have to hook up the grass effects too to receive rain and snow. I guess I could do that right now. I kind of forget how to do it, but we'll try. Dynamic. What was it called? Oh, weather. Wet weather? No, surface weather effects, right? How do I do that with this? Make material attributes? Oh yeah, okay. Okay, base color. Done. Metallic. Specular roughness. Emissive. This is the opacity mask. Yes. Opacity mask. Sorry, it's a little hard to see. Normal. WPO and pixel depth offset. The dithering, we pull in material attributes, MA. Break material attributes. Specular, roughness, emissive, opacity mask, normal, world position. And I think tangent, anisotropy, and ambient were not hooked up. Yeah. Okay, apply wetness. This is a Boolean. That is not a Boolean, that's a bump offset. Thank you. Oh, static bullets, right? Apply wetness, apply snow and dust. And I think we want a... Oh, let me double check on the landscape material. Let me check. Once this is... that size. MI terrain demo. I think we adjusted the master. This was for landscape weather effects. We did it on that big shroom, didn't we? On this one. MI mushrooms. M props master. We did it here. Oh no, we just apply the boolean. It's okay. So this should work. And now if we change it to snowy, pretty much all the grass is gonna have snow. Hopefully. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, the grass shouldn't be there if it's winter anyway, but... guys, bear with me, okay? One thing at a time. I know none of you said anything, but you were thinking it. Oh, doesn't look good with the rain. Can we not have it apply wetness? We could also have it, we could adjust its wetness as well. Like I think it's max wetness. I just don't know how to do that. Yeah, that looks better. What about dust? Okay. The snow looks decent. We needed to apply it to some of this other stuff too, but you know, one thing at a time, right? Things like the these meshes too would be really nice if they caught some snow. One thing at a time. I love that it doesn't go indoors. It's so fucking good. I don't know how it knows though. If I make this big enough, how does it... how does it know not to apply snow inside? I don't get that. Well, I guess it wouldn't. It would just be the particles that know not to go inside. It's got collision detection on the particles. Still very, very good. Still very good. I approve. Okay, let's change the weather back to not terrible. And we will pause it there. I will end my YouTube recording. Thank you guys on YouTube. You guys really seem to be liking these dev streams. Getting a lot of views from them, which is pretty cool. So yeah, check out the links below too for the Discord, and you can chat with us there.